Today I have the keys to the 2020 Mercedes Benz AMG GT. Huge shout out to Hendrick Mercedes Benz of Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Definitely check out their website. This model here is finished off in Jupiter Red and it has an MSRP just over $122,000. Let's start off today's video by going up underneath the hood where you'll find the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine. This is paired to the 7-speed AMG speed shift transmission. It produces 469 horsepower, around 6,000 RPM, and 465 pound-feet of torque as low as 1,700 RPM. This is rear-wheel drive. It weighs in around 3,500 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds with a top speed of 189 miles an hour. And with a fuel capacity of 19.8 gallons, you can expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 22 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 103.5 inches. Its overall length is 179. Its width is 76.3 and it has a height of 50.7 inches. With all those specifications out of the way, it's time to jump into the exterior walk around on the AMG GT. My favorite part is the LED headlights and the DRLs. They have a very nice design to them that run the inner housing of the headlights there, and you can see down below we have 3 different pods, just giving it a very cool look. The grille is also my favorite part. You can see all of the vertical slats, large Mercedes Benz logo right in the center, and there's even a forward-facing camera nicely hidden just up underneath that, along with all the parking sensors. You can also see there is no mesh in the lower section of the front end. We have very large cutouts to provide even more cooling to that V8 engine, and then we have a nice trim piece in the lower section of the middle part of the bumper. There's very nice contoured lines that run throughout it and very sleek lines. The hood also features functional heat extraction vents as well, and you can see them placed on the back side of the hood. This does have a pretty large hood, but it flows well with the rest of the vehicle. As we go ahead and move on to the side profile now, you'll see the staggered setup for the wheels. They measure 19 inches in the front and 20 inches in the rear. They also have the AMG badge on them, a very nice two-tone design with a multi-spoke finish. This has body-colored side mirrors with the integrated turn signal, and you can see there's a really cool pattern on them. They're not just a single strip, they split off, just giving it a unique look. This does have a full panoramic sunroof, so you can see from the exterior it's all blacked out, giving it a really good contrast against the red. The side profile on the AMG GT is unlike any other coupe that I've seen. With the long hood that it has and the coupe design, obviously, I think it flows very nicely. All the proportions are very nice. And that moves us on to the rear end of the vehicle. You can see I have the active spoiler up at the moment. You can easily put that up or down depending on how you'd like it. This has a backup camera just above the license plate. We have LED lights on both sides, and then down below we have the quad tip dual exhaust. It's time to go ahead and take a look at the interior on the AMG GT. I have the vehicle locked, just placing my hand on the door handle. You'll see the side mirrors fold out, and then you can use the door handle to lock the vehicle as well. Looking at the door panel, you'll see it's completely covered in black leather with gray stitching. We have aluminum on the release handle, along with around the lock and unlock and one of the 10 speakers. This has a Burmester audio sound system. You'll see the window controls along with the side mirror adjustments just in front of the grab handle, and then there's a little bit of storage space on the lower side of the door. And then looking at the door sill, you'll see AMG spelled out with a really nice brushed aluminum piece. And then making our way to the sport bucket seats, you'll see they're covered in leather with a nice microfiber running down the inserts. There's the AMG badge up top along with some cutouts. They have a really nice design to them, really aggressive bolsters as well, and then you can see the stitching running down them. Now looking at the steering wheel, you can see that it's covered in solid leather and perforated leather. We have the perforated leather on the sides giving you a really good grip. This does have a flat bottom design to it along with the AMG badge. Looking at the controls on the left side now, you can see cruise control along with these 3 buttons here, which will control the gauge cluster. So right now you can see the tach right in the center along with your miles per hour. There's boost, horsepower, and torque on the right side, and then the odometer and MPG on the left side. So if I just click on the home button right now, you can pull up a lot of information to go through, and then you can swipe on this small black square here to go between all of the different information. You can go into designs, and then you'll see we are in Super Sport right now. We can scroll down to Sport mode, which is changes it to your speedometer on the left side, tack on the right side. If we go back into that, we can go down to classic and it just changes the color, which is nice to see. Then we can scroll over and look at phone. We have media and radio along with the navigation when that is on and running. You can go over to your trip information. We can go into the AMG performance and pull up that screen if you'd like to see it. You also have your driving assistance and service. So it's very easy to go through with all of those controls. You'll see just underneath that, we can change the exhaust note. You can retract and deploy the spoiler if you'd like to. Working our way to the right side, you have the different driving modes between slippery, individual, comfort, sport, and sport plus, just by twisting that dial. And then these buttons here will control the center screen, which I'll get to here shortly. As we look at the left side of the steering wheel, you can release the trunk. We have the electronic parking brake along with your headlight controls. There is one air vent above that. And then quickly looking at the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, they are finished off in aluminum and have a really nice feel to them. You can see there's leather and stitching running across the dash, and then right in the center we have the 10-inch screen. So using those dials on the right side of the steering wheel, you also have Bluetooth and your voice commands along with adjusting the volume for the radio. But using that same set of dials you saw on the left side, I'm gonna click on the home button right now, and you'll see that we have most of the same features like your radio, media, and phone. You can go into vehicle and look at your climate controls. You have your dynamic select along with track pace, so if you want to take this out on the track. You can also scroll down and look at more of your driver assistance, your fuel consumption, and you have some lighting settings that you can go into. So it's very easy to go through that screen with all of these controls, and you do have a pad in the center. So you have your home button and a back button, and then you can just swipe on this pad to go through all the information that you'd like. Just below that, we have 4 air vents. You can adjust how much air is coming out of them just by twisting on this dial here. And then just below that, we have a row for all of the climate controls. So you have your temperature for driver and passenger, your fan speed. You can sync both of these climates together, and you have a menu button right in the center. Working our way below that, you can see 2 cup holders along with a 12 volt and a USB, and you can hide that if you'd like to with this very nice black finish on the cover. You can also see more of the brushed aluminum surrounding it, which gives it a really cool look. As we make our way to the center here, you have the different driving modes that you can go into just by clicking on this button here. Just behind that, you can push on this button for drive or manual to use the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. We have traction control, which you can turn on and off. And then over on the right side, we can adjust the volume for the radio. You can turn on and off the engine start stop feature. You can deploy and retract the spoiler and change the exhaust note just by pushing on that button. I think it's a very nice setup, and it's nice how they're equal on both sides, which just gives it a really cool look. And then making our way to the leather wrap shifter, all you have to do is pull it all the way back to go into drive. If you push it all the way forward, that is reverse, and you'll see the backup camera up here. You can swipe on this pad as well to go through the different camera angles. So we have a wide angle view for the front. You have a different view with the top down on the left side. We can go down to the backup camera and then have that in the full screen as well. Making our way to the center armrest now, just by pushing on this button, you'll see you have a spot for the key along with 2 USB ports and a good amount of storage space. And then looking at the glove box now, you have plenty of room for everything that needs to go there. Finished off in leather. It has a really nice look. We'll go ahead and take one last look at these seats. You can see how aggressive those bolsters are. And then up top, this does have a sunroof. You have all those controls up in the center here along with some dome lights. And then behind that, we have the heated seat controls for driver and passenger. You can turn on and off the parking sensors, as well as a shortcut to bring up the camera system. Last up, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the rear trunk storage space. I'm just gonna hold the button on the key fob and that will automatically release it. Then we can go ahead and open up the rear hatch. You actually have a good amount of space in here for 2 people to be able to pack whatever you'd like. You can also retract this cover as well. Just gives you a little bit more versatility, and it's nice how it hides into the floor. So there's definitely a good amount of storage space. You can see 1 speaker on the right side, and then there is a grab handle up top, which makes it easy to close. All right, so now getting the AMG GT out on the road. This is the first time that I've been up close and personal with this car, and I gotta say, I'm falling in love with it because everything about it is just so nice. I'm gonna start off with the seating position here because I'm almost at 5'10". I would say I'm almost at the same level as the hood. That's how sunken down you are in this car, and you feel like you're in the cockpit of a race car because you have the armrest right here for you. You're kind of hunkered down from this center compartment here, and it's even equally as comfortable. So I can easily rest my arm behind this and be in a comfortable position. One thing that I also wanted to point out before we get up and moving here is that on the left side of the steering wheel, those screens that I showed earlier, I actually just learned that you can touch the screen itself and you can change the setting to whatever you'd like it to be. So earlier in the video, when I showed that being the exhaust note, I can click on it again. Now you can use that to toggle between automatic and manual. You can make it your engine start-stop feature, and you have an AMG Dynamics tab that you can go into, and you can configure that for the top and the bottom there. So that is pretty awesome. You have a ton of ways to control everything within this car, but at the same time, it's super easy to use. So whatever you like best, you can set this car up to exactly how you like to use it, which I think is really cool. If you want to use the controls on the steering wheel, you can. If you want to use this, you have the pad right in the center. It's a lot of information, but it's very easy to use. So right now, let's go ahead and toggle into the manual mode. We're gonna drop down just a couple gears here. Wow. I love the sound of that V8, and I currently have the exhaust in the sport mode right now because you just have to drive this car with the sport mode on. It just sounds incredible for the V8. Oh, down to third gear. Wow. If I just click on that button again, now it's toned down. There's no drone. If I go down to third gear again, I mean, you're still gonna hear it, but at the same time, up into seventh gear here, just cruising. It's a very nice, comfortable daily driver. I could see this being a fun daily driver because you can just kind of settle it down here, put it into its quiet comfort mode basically. Or if you'd like to, we can go ahead and change into Sport Plus, which automatically puts the exhaust into Sport Plus, and the suspension gets a little bit stiffer. You still have that same exhaust note as well, but it's really cool how you can toggle between all of that. You can take this to work every day, or you can get this out on some back mountain roads and have a blast with it. All right, so from first gear here, we have a little bit of a right-hand turn as well. Nothing crazy. Wow. Going over some bumps here. It's a little bit stiff. Wow. Sport Plus makes it sound even that much better. I was not expecting that. Wow. Oh my gosh. Man, this is a fun car, and this is nothing crazy. I'm not doing anything crazy. That's not even quarter throttle. So the potential that this car has, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine getting this out on the track and really letting it rip. This is such a fun car. I've never really had the AMG GT on my radar. Let's take it around this turn here. Wow. Zero body roll, virtually no body roll. It was super planted around that turn, and I'm blown away with the performance, and I'm just driving it like you would normally. Let's go ahead and talk about the visibility real quick. For a two-seater, two-door coupe here, you actually have a good amount of visibility. This pillar is not all that bulky over my left shoulder, but you can see out of that glass. So I think it's really nice that they have that glass right there for you. Over my right shoulder, the glass is pretty much right there. So it's nice that you can see through. And the fact that this has the hatchback style to it, even though it is a coupe, you can grab anything that you have in the back there if you have some items up behind the strut brace there. So it's nice that it passes through if you need to put in any larger items. You have the option to do that. So this could be a very good daily driver. It has enough space for what you would need for a vehicle like this. And it's so nice. I love all the materials on the inside. Everything has this aluminum finish to it. We have leather and stitching. It's just a really nice layout. These buttons for the AC controls are in a good spot, and I like the controls on both sides too. They're easy to read and laid out well. Comment down below, is this a vehicle that you guys would like to own? A two-door coupe, front engine, rear-wheel drive. Man, I wish I could get on it here today, but even just doing this, it's such a phenomenal vehicle. The paddles are really nice. They're in a good spot, and I really like the grip that the steering wheel provides. That doesn't get old at all. I love seeing that spoiler too out of the rear glass. Coming up to a right-hand turn. Man, this is just phenomenal. It's very comfortable as well. I mentioned earlier how aggressive these seats were, but just with that whole cockpit design that I was talking about, you feel very planted in these seats. They hug me well, and you just feel so cool being behind the wheel of this. It's just like you're hunkered down. You're in a sport bucket seat here, giving you a lot of grip for yourself, so that way you can get this out and have a lot of grip in the car as well, taking it around some of these turns. I love the fact too that we have the boost gauge and your horsepower and torque readout. I think that's just a cool setting to see. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for my walk around review and test drive behind the wheel of the 2020 Mercedes Benz AMG GT. Once again, massive shout out to Hendrick Mercedes Benz of Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Make sure you guys check out their website, and if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video.